Hello and welcome. This is rooflemonger. My friends, we learned a lot about Mortal Kombat 1 today. Characters, gameplay, cameos, and even just a little bit of story mode stuff as well. So in this video, we're going to break everything down for you. We'll do this in sections for easy use, so everything will be timestamped for you. I guess first thing, we'll start with the cameo characters, as there's some very interesting choices here. So along with the Kombat Kast today, we also got a lovely trailer which gave us a lot of info on the characters, not the least of which, cameos. So who shows up as cameos in this trailer specifically? Well, we can see cameo Scorpion. We already knew that, although we can see here one of his attacks, which looks like it's just a straight up ground bounce. So that's going to be very good for combo ability at the very least. Now this part's very interesting, as he basically does the get over here on you. So Scorpion pulls you into him and makes you travel across the stage. So cameos are more than just combos and maybe some mid-screen neutral potential, right? There's also a lot of utility, and we'll see more of that later on. Now, on top of Scorpion just giving you space, which would be great for zoner characters to just back up and have more room to zone in, you can see that little gray armor flash. So the initial part of this looks like, well, it's armored, that you'll be able to tank a hit as Scorpion is pulling you backwards. So fascinating to say the least. Something like this has a lot of potential. And after this sequence here, we also get a quick look at his cameo throw. Everyone's got one. This is Scorpion's. Also, the Lin Kuei Cyber Ninjas are back. So we can see Sector here doing the classic Sector uppercut. And he teleports, uppercuts you, big juggle. You can basically do whatever you want from there. So easy combo ability. And when it comes to the fatal blow, he's going to be shooting a heck of a lot of missiles, as that's sort of the Sector thing. So don't worry, missiles, Sector's got him in spades, looks like. Frost also returns as a cameo. We can see here doing her fatal blow with a bunch of ice daggers and a big old ice dropkick. And yes, Cyrax is back as well with all sorts of bombs to round out the cameo trio. And cameo fatality is still a thing naturally. This is Scorpion evoking the Mortal Kombat 1 fatality. In the Kombat Kast portion as well, we can see classic Kung Lao, who is very much the Mortal Kombat 2 Kung Lao. And he can do stuff like throw the hat, as you would expect, looks like a low. And here's the really big one. So Kung Lao has a teleport, but he teleports you. Not himself, you. So this is one of the big deals for cameos as utility, because Mortal Kombat teleports are generally very strong, especially compared to other 2D fighting games. And now, if you pick Kung Lao as your cameo, he gives you, regardless of whatever character you happen to be, the ability to teleport. So not just Scorpion, not just Raiden anymore. So there's combo applications, as we'll show in a little bit here, but also just general neutral. Like the fact that anyone can teleport, that'd be a big deal here. Like Katana. Katana can use her not square wave to go across the screen, but there's a big risk involved with that. Also, the landing generally is not that safe. But just teleporting anywhere, anytime with a cameo, that seems pretty good. Not the least of which is you do get an air attack off this cameo, and you can be jumping while doing it too. So jump backwards, teleport into jump button, and then a combo follow-up. So yeah, this stuff is gonna be strong. As for other options, he does have the classic spin as well, and he just goes forward, Mortal Kombat 2 style spin with the fancy lines, and it bounces up, free combo ability. So utility and combos, Kung Lao seems like a pretty good cameo, all things told to me. Also for cameos, Kano's cameo throw is much faster. After the initial hit, he just runs away right away. So it's sped up, and they've been taking feedback in, so that's sped up. A lot of things have been sped up, and they're looking at dashes as well. They haven't committed to anything, but they said, we're listening. We've heard everyone talk about mobility and dashes, so look forward to that, because that will probably be better come launch. So that's the cameos. Now let's talk characters. So we had Scorpion and Johnny Cage showed off in the Kombat Kast. And we had two new characters show up. We had Smoke and Rain show up in the trailer. So let's start with Smoke. So Smoke still appears to be the same Smoke from MK9 with the silvery gray hair and all that, although just with a different haircut this time around. And obviously enough, this is human Smoke, not robot Smoke, right? Smoke hasn't been playable in a hot minute, so it's hard to say exactly where they're going to go with the moveset. He has this weird curved dagger. Now, one thing, he launches and then he pulls you in after the launch, which I think is really neat. This looks like a short-range teleport into a strike. Perhaps there's multiple distances or can cross up, and the teleport theme will remain throughout his attacks. Also, hey, it's Cyrax. And now after that launch, teleport again, catches the enemy with like a bit of a slide into a teleport uppercut, does an air combo, and then smashes him to the ground with a smoke bomb. Another extended sequence here, so it looks like a string, starts with maybe back 3, overhead ender, perhaps, splats out. Short range teleport again, gets the follow-up be directly on top of the enemy. Another knockdown string, he's got a lot of these seemingly. Another string starter, and this one ends with, I'm assuming a special, teleports on the other side and knocks you down. So it looks like the name of the game for Smoke is just mobility, 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 all sorts of dashes and teleports everywhere. Now also, Rain returns, and Rain is just straight up like a water wizard now. He's got the staff and everything. So upgraded from ninja to wizard, I suppose, but I think this is a really good look for him. I like it a lot. The wizard staff, by the way, is absolutely not for show. He uses it to deadly effect. Kind of like water bending, I guess you could say, using the staff to control the water. He can use it long range as well. I'm assuming this is one of his special projectiles. Big time air control. You're not jumping that stuff. This looks like an aimable projectile, like, you know, you can do it close, far, mid, all that kind of stuff. Knocks enemy down, or rather pops them up. Summons a giant rain cloud with like a friggin' storm meteor. And then also has water teleports, and you can land on top of the enemy, and like, they're going wild with a lot of these characters, man. Unfortunately, that's about what we get to see there, because the rest of the trailer is just Scorpion beating up on Rain. But I am very, very interested in seeing more of Rain, because I like everything about what they're showing for this character right now. Now, as for the Kombat Kast proper, we did see Scorpion and Johnny Cage. So Scorpion's about more what you would expect out of the character, to be honest. Johnny Cage may be a bit more wild, but let's start with Scorpion. So step 1, Spear returns, because of course it does. Like, how could it not? Same with Teleport, they're both here. Now, a fun returning move for Scorpion is Hellfire is back. Now, just FYI, it is not an unblockable, it's a low though, which is very handy. However, the enhanced version of the move is actually indeed a true unblockable attack. It'll do a bit of damage up front and then seemingly a very small DOT afterwards. To note, this doesn't seem to stop the enemy in any way, shape, or form once it connects. Like, there's no hit stop animation for this because it's unblockable. So if they're in the middle of attacking you or something, this doesn't look like it'll save you at all. So FYI there. Now, leaning more into the ninja side of things, Scorpion now has the Kasarigama as one of his alternate movesets, and he can use it to great effect from a range, as you can see here. So basically, gives him a lot new moves to play around with, a lot new just fun tech. Also, we have here a bit of a fire wheel, spinning it around. This reminds me a little bit like Samurai Showdown a little bit. He could do similar in MK11 with spinning the chain, but just it looks cooler here. Also, speaking of looking cool, so short range dash, using the Kasarigama to like hook the enemy and just stab him on the other side. That looks really good. However, Scorpion's still Scorpion, so we do have a couple example combos, and ones like quick pop up, quick bounce down, spear, get over here, and then of course naturally get the combo again after the spear, and then we get the cool flame Kasarigama ender that we saw. And by the way, spear is not only for the ground. If you saw some of the earlier trailers, you know Scorpion has air spear as well. So the enhanced version here brings you to the enemy in the air, and then you can spear again once you land to recombo. So there's going to be a lot of just crazy combos you can pull. And this was like 37% damage too. And I'm sure that's probably not even optimal, right? Let alone cameos and all that. So combo ability in this game is going to be very crazy. Like another example, unfortunately a little bit of a drop here, but at the end, instead of just finishing up normal, calling in Kung Lao to do the bounce, and then you can keep comboing from there, right? So Scorpion has some new tricks, but he's not just fully reinventing the character, but still looks very strong and interesting to me. Now, Johnny Cage, Johnny's actually changed quite a bit. One bit out of the gate, you probably noticed the shadow kick. No longer has any kind of green energy, has no more green anything. And apparently he no longer has any fireballs either. So both from an aesthetics perspective and a gameplay perspective, this is not the same Johnny you've always known. Yes, the shadow kick's still there. Yes, he still has the nut punch. But with no fireballs, that's very odd. And I guess in Liu Kang's new era, there's no more green energy. He got rid of all that, so we'll see if Nightwolf or Shao Kahn show up, if they still have green energy, which is a different kind of green energy, I know, but still, it's green. I like the color green, and it's just weird to see it go. What Johnny does have this time around, though, is this giant star, the hype meter, which we'll talk about in a second. So Johnny does have all new moves, like this guy right here. This is a command dash, and he can also use this dash to go through enemies if you're close enough. It won't if you're not. And he can also command dash twice, back to back. So one normal, then one go through the enemy, that kind of stuff. So it gives him a lot of forward momentum and just a lot of rush down power, to say the least. Now, to talk about the hype meter, it's basically Johnny's raison d'etre in this game, right? So you do specials, you build the meter, and you can also change specials to include like a taunt version of the special, which will change how it'll work, and it'll massively increase the meter. If you hold L2 during a special, he basically does a special taunt, which wildly increases the gauge, as you can see here. The effect is different on the move, like if you do the nut punch, and you do the taunt factor, it basically becomes a fake nut punch, and he just smiles for the camera. Now, unfortunately, in the Kombat Kast, they didn't really go through all of Johnny's moves, so we don't know every permutation that can have a taunt cancel, but that's another one right there. And basically, it all goes to filling up the gauge. And once the gauge is filled up, you become like a crazy anime character for a little bit. So there is a startup associated with it, which can be punished, but once you have the spotlight on you, you can now special cancel all moves into themselves, as this triple nut punch shows. So effectively, while it's up, you are basically a boss character for a short time. And you can do combos that simply normally, frankly, are not possible, like say this triple shadow kick combo. And of course, you're free to mix and match, so you can do like nut punch into the uppercut, that kind of stuff. You can kind of just go wild as far as I can tell, which is crazy. Like they had an example match, so Johnny goes into his mode, which gets punished, because it is punishable. But after getting bopped here for a moment, he does get his combo off. And the combo you're going to see is very, very elaborate. So string starter, right? Special cancel, special cancel, special cancel into the dash, which has enough time to land more strings. Then into the Kung Lao teleport, which keeps the combo going. I told you that Kameo is pretty strong, right? And then just sort of following up from there. The combo, the rest of the combo, the star gauge is drained, but still, that's very strong. So the hype meter / star power is effectively almost like custom combos for just a short period of time. Seems pretty good to me. Not the least of which, as it was explained in the Kombat Kast, when you are in hype mode, you have one free EX move per combo. So they use the Johnny uppercut as the example here. So as you notice here, Johnny did the EX version, he did the flash, right? But he did not drain any of the 3 meters he has. So while you're in hype mode, you can do stuff like EX launcher, and it's free. It doesn't cost you any resource at all. And that seems really good. So not only are you able to special cancel your specials into more specials into more specials, you also don't have to use meter in the same way you normally would in a combo. So the amount of freedom this gives you is just unprecedented, really. Certainly this is the reason to play Johnny Cage in Mortal Kombat 1. Now, that said, that's about the bulk of it. Just a thing I do want to mention, just a little bit of a story detail, is during the cinematic trailer, Scorpion and Sub-Zero and Smoke are on their big secret mission, right? And it looks like specifically they are in Outworld. Why? Because I bet you anything what Scorpion is facing right here, this is the Dragon King's army. It looks exactly like the soldiers from Deadly Alliance. They're all sort of undead, vaguely samurai-looking dudes with sort of like that terracotta army look, right? So that's definitely them, so I'd expect Onaga to have something to do with the plot. Who knows where it'll go, but to me that is definitely the Dragon King's army. Maybe I'm wrong, maybe I'm crazy, but if we're, retelling the story a little bit as it were, the Dragon King and Onaga is definitely a story beat to definitely kind of hit. Doubly so because they meet Rain there, and Rain's not going to be in Earthrealm. He'll definitely be in Outworld, right? And the stage looks like a bit of a treasure hoard kind of deal, which definitely be, Onaga related as well, perhaps. I don't know. Maybe I'm crazy. Maybe I'm reading too much into it, but I certainly hope that's where we're going, right? Because obviously something has to be up. There's obviously got to be some sort of problem. Otherwise, there wouldn't be much of a game as far as the story is concerned, right? Obviously, Liu Kang's new era is perhaps not all that it's cracked up to be. So maybe he recreated all the realms, but recreated some things he didn't intend to, like, oh yeah, that Dragon King stuff. Probably shouldn't have done that. Probably should have left that one out of the script. I don't know, I'm just fantasy booking at this point. We'll wait and see, we'll see where it goes. We don't gotta wait too much longer, it is September after all. But as a longtime Mortal Kombat fan, I'm just very, very interested in seeing where the plot and the lore and the story are all gonna go. That all said, my friends, that is a breakdown of everything that happened today. We got a lot, and hopefully we got a lot more big reveals in the future. There's still a lot more characters, a lot more cameos, a lot more story to be revealed just yet. And of course, naturally, when the time comes for all of it, I'll be here to break it all down for you. Until that time, though, we are at the end of the video. So thank you very much for watching. Hope this video has found you well, and go out and play some Mortal Kombat.